Hi there everybody, in this section we will handle the CSS of our application and the structure of it. We will handle the navigation menu and the way it will be displayed. And we are also going to be adding some complementary features such as pagination and the search bar. After all these modifications, our auctions application will look much cooler visually and more user-friendly. So let's just start working. So firstly, we need to go to site.css file to make some modification to the CSS of the application. So here we have already some styling to it by default, and I'm just gonna be adding some padding in the body. Of the padding will be of 10 pixels. And I'm also going to specify here the background color, which the one I'm choosing has the following code. Now I'm also going to add some stylings to the navigation, to the items with the navigation class. The background color of it, I'm just choosing it to be something similar to the background color, but of course to be a bit different. And I'm also gonna give some border to the navigation, and it will be of 1 pixel, solid, and the color of it will be black. And now to the items that have the nav link class, I'm giving them a color of black. And I'm also gonna make some styling here so that when we hover over them, the text of these items will turn to white. Just something to make them visually a bit better. So color to white. Just gonna run the application to see how many of the changes are saved. Okay, so we see that the background has changed the color. We see actually these items in the navigation are not changing. Okay, so let me just go to the layout.cshtml file. And here we're gonna change the items that are in our navigation. So first we need to remove these classes that are in this navigation class. So the color that there already would conflict with the color that we inputted ourselves. Okay, so now we see that the color for the navigation is changed. Okay, I'm gonna remove this button that was there. We don't need something like that. So this icon thing that is by default. Now I'm also gonna change these items in the navigation. So for the first one, I'll change the controller and the name will be active listings, because this will redirect us to the listings controller and to the index method. I'm gonna also remove this class here that specifies the color of these navigation items, because that would conflict with our own CSS for it. Okay, so we removed that icon, what was there in the beginning. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is that some items in our navigation will make them to be visible only when the user is logged in. So here I'm writing at if user.identity is authenticated, then these menus that will be here will only be displayed when the user will be logged in. So let me just copy that first one. And here, I'm just gonna change the method here to make them to redirect them to the create method. And here I'm gonna make the title to create listings. So only a user that is logged in can access this method, this menu item. I'm just copying it again. I'm putting like 3 navigation items here. And the second one here will redirect us to the my listings method, and the third one to the mybits method, which we will make in the upcoming tutorials. But basically this will redirect us to a list of the users listings, and the mybits method will redirect them to a list of to the listings which they have bidded for. We will specify how these methods work later, but just to have them there visually. That's why we are doing them now. In this navigation item, we will actually input a search bar, which we will make it to be right in the middle of our navigation menu. And for it, actually, I'm gonna need the library from the Font Awesome. This is a page that allows us to have some pretty cool icons inside our projects. So this was the page, but we need to go to the library, and we need to copy the link tag here and input it in the header, so that now we can use the cool icons that this library offers. And for it, firstly here we're gonna use it here because we're gonna input a search icon, and this will also, of course, the search input. We're gonna need to have a form here, so that whatever is inputted in this search input will be redirected to the listings controller and to the index method. Specifying the method here to get, because that's how we do it in when we make the search functionality. When we search for items, when we filter items. Here I need an input tag. So I'm giving it some styling to it. Just making the width of it to 80%. The remaining 20% will be covered by the search button / icon. I'm gonna float this to the left. And here I'm giving it a radius to the border top left. On the top left border, and in the bottom left border I'm giving it a radius as well, so it will be like around it. The background color, I'm setting it to white smoke. Okay, I've misspelled it, the float there. I've actually made a specific video on how to make this exact search bar which I'm going to be linking down in the description. And here I'm going to specify the type that it accepts will be only text, and the name, I'm giving it a name like search string. And the class, I leave it as form control. So down below, we're gonna need a button to submit to be able to submit the data. And I'm giving it a styling of the width, I'm setting it to 20%. The float, I'm gonna float it to the left. And the border will be set to none. We won't have any borders. I'm making the background to transparent. And the height of the button will be 40 pixels. And of course we need to specify here the type of the button to be submit. Here we're gonna write what will be displayed in the button. And here comes our icons from Phantasm library. I'm giving it a class of FA and FA search, which is basically just a search icon. And we're actually going to input icons in each of these navigation items because they will look very much better visually. So to the active listings, I'm gonna give it an icon of FA solid and FA house. You can see this on the Phantasm website, the codes for many different icons, but I've saw them before and I'm just inputting them here now to save some time. So to the create listing navigation item, I'm giving it a class of FA solid and FA plus. So it's going to be this plus sign. To the my listings, I'm going to change it, the class to FA newspaper here. And in the last one, in the my bits navigation item, the class will be FA solid and FA sec dollar. So we're just running the application to see how it looks until now visually. Of course, need to be logged in to see more things, but we can see this search bar here, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. And the active listings with this icon. When we hover over the navigation items, they should be white as we specified in site.css, but okay, we had to write .nav link to specify that this is a class. And if we refresh now, we can see that if we hover over this navigation item, it will turn to white. If we can log in, we would be able to see the other navigation items. So that's how they seem, that's how they look when we hover over them. And until now we only have active only the first two navigation items. And we have to implement the functionality for the search bar as well, which we haven't done. I'm actually going to open up a project. As I said, I will link down below how we can add the search functionality in our projects. But I will just take the code from my forum project here. And I will explain you what I'm going to be doing. So this was my forum application. Firstly, I will actually copy the code for the pagination functionality because we are going to implement them both. And for both of them, we need to modify the index method. And I'm gonna link down in the description below the video where I explain pagination more in detail. Basically, we need to add a class, a paginated list class in our root directory. Okay, I'm naming a class here paginatedlist.cs, and I'll input there everything that I copied from my forum project. This is, okay, I'm just going to change the namespace here to the name of the project, and this you could find in the Microsoft documentation as well, this exact paginated list class. But let me just go back to the controller here, and we're gonna need to modify the index method as well. Let me see here in our previous project. Okay, so this is the structure. We take a number for the paginated list, and this is how the view will be returned. And we need a page size there, a page size variable there. Let me just copy the first two firstly. So basically, yeah, we have a page size, how many items we want to be in a page, and then we return this paginated list class with the items from our context. In the parameter, we need a page number int parameter to know in which page we are, and we also need this search string parameter if in case the user inputs something in the search bar. So we'll take the items from this application DB context variable. In this application DB context variable, we are setting the page size to 30. And of course, we're taking the page number and the search string from the parameter. And here we actually make an if clause in case the search string is not null. So if a user has inputted something in the search string, so here in the application DB context variable, we are searching with this .where function. We are searching for the items where the title contains this search string. Basically, that's what it does. And here we need to return a view here. And here below, we need to change it to listing there. And in application.db context here, we need to specify that we want listings that are not sold. We could do this later. So listings where .is sold is equal to false. So in the first page will only appear those listings that aren't where the bidding is not closed. And we could do it later, but I'm doing it right now since we are handling the index method one more time. And I'm just copying what we have here, and the exact same thing will be returned in case the user inputs something in the search bar. But the difference will be that the listings will contain the title that was inputted in the search bar. If we see in our previous project, we also need this on top of the page. We need to use a paginated list, and here we need these variables and these HTML elements, which basically are just these buttons on the bottom of the page that we can go from one page to another. So from the first page to the second page and so on. And I'm just inputting them here in our index.cs HTML file. And on top of it, I'm making the module. So we are importing a paginated list module. We are using a paginated list model. And if we run the application now, we should see all of our changes. Okay, we can see here, let it just load. We can see here this pagination implemented, but we only have one page. And we can see that the search bar is functional. If we type their shirt, our listing will appear, but we only have one listing, so we can't do much experiments with that. So this was it for this section. We completed an overall structuring and designing of our application. In the next video, we'll take care of the functionality to add biddings and to close biddings.